You are inheriting a lot of problems, a lot of things that actually scare me. They're
all solvable problems. But if we didn't win this race, I really believe our country would have been lost forever.
The fact that Trump has suggested that maybe Biden should have pardoned himself gives you everything you need to know about what his intentions were, because he's not really savvy enough to keep the quiet part inside. He says the quiet part out loud.
But he said, I am your retribution. He's not, that's what he's interested in.
Sean Hannity panics during Trump's first TV interview as the 47th president of the United States, sparking a frenzy across the entire media landscape. Meanwhile, The View goes ballistic over Cassidy Hutchinson's role in a scandal involving a mysterious subpoena and shocking GOP secrets. And if that's not enough, President Trump just signed an executive order declassifying decades-old files tied to JFK, RFK, and even Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Hey guys, thank you so much for hitting the like button. Appreciate you guys sharing the video. You have no idea how much it does help me out. And just wait until we uncover what Trump plans to do next that breaks the internet.
Sir, we have an executive order ordering the declassification of files relating to the assassins of President John F. Kennedy, Senator Robert F. Kennedy, and the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.
That's a big one, huh?
I'm just saying, we have seen and heard more from President Donald Trump in what, 3 days than we did from Joe Biden in like 4 years. I mean, am I wrong? Call me out, guys. If I'm wrong, you let me know. But first, there's this. President Donald Trump just signed an executive order declassifying government documents related to the unaliving of former President John F. Kennedy, his brother and presidential candidate Robert F. Kennedy, and civil rights icon Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Guys, this is huge. And this is just the beginning of the latest chapter in this whole wild saga, a saga that has fueled endless fascination, spawned countless conspiracy theories, and it sparked all sorts of debates that have shaped history for decades. In other news, a new report has just come out saying that Mike Johnson's office urged Republicans against subpoenaing a key January 6th committee witness, so explicit texts GOP lawmakers sent her would remain under wraps. Y'all see what's going on here, right? So the witness in question here is Cassidy Hutchinson, a 28-year-old former White House aide from Donald Trump's first term, who gave explosive testimony to the committee about his actions leading up to January 6, 2021. Now get this, guys. The same Cassidy Hutchinson that people say was colluding with Liz Cheney in the January 6th investigation. But then all of a sudden, Speaker Mike Johnson denies any involvement in Republican-led committee's decision not to subpoena Cassidy Hutchinson. So the question everybody's asking right now is, who the heck is telling the truth here? Well, let's just say, guys, that a lot of public enemies would benefit from such a salacious story so early in the Trump administration. You know what I'm saying here? And who was the first to break the story? The Washington Post. I think that says plenty, right? Would you guys agree? Yeah, so we're definitely going to talk more about that later. And another headline that's pretty interesting here, Trump's first television interview as the 47th president of the United States. And he did it with Fox News' Sean Hannity, and he made the case that the nation's problems are all still solvable, especially with what he called his very unified Republican caucus in Congress. I mean, you got to appreciate the optimism, right, guys? I mean, it just kind of feels like a breath of fresh air compared to the doom and gloom kind of rhetoric that the Democrats have been pumping out and spouting about democracy, climate change, DEI, and whatever. I mean, just listen to the guy.
All right, before we get into, there's so much substance. You are inheriting a lot of problems, a lot of things that actually scare me. Yeah. And I want to get to all of that, but I will get to all of that. They're
all solvable problems.
I agree.
They're all solvable.
Not easy.
With time, effort, money, unfortunately, but they're all solvable problems. We can get our country back. But if we didn't win this race, I really believe our country would have been lost forever.
Now, of course, the ladies from The View just could not let Trump have his moment, could they? Right? Of course not. Instead, the ladies from The View, they're talking about how the president's going to investigate his predecessor, Joe Biden. Here, you got to check this out.
The fact that Trump has suggested that maybe Biden should have pardoned himself gives you everything you need to know about what his intentions were, because he's not really savvy enough to keep the quiet part inside. He says the quiet part out loud. So I think he would have most definitely started investigating Joe Biden's entire family. And remember that the January 6th committee's investigation cost $3.3 million between April and June. So those are your taxpayer dollars that would have been wasted on just a spurious investigation.
But he said, I am your
and potential
retribution.
lawsuit.
He's not, that's what he's interested in.
That gave me a lot of clarity.
Now, isn't that just being so negative in the face of a new chapter for America? You guys tell me. I mean, maybe I'm off. More on Trump's first interview later in today's video, but first, you gotta stick around for this. So first, let's talk about this monumentous clip of President Trump signing the executive order that declassifies the RFK unaliving files. Check this out.
Sir, we have an executive order ordering the declassification of files relating to the assassinations of President John F. Kennedy, Senator Robert F. Kennedy, and the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.
That's a big one, huh? A lot of people are waiting for this for years, for decades. And everything will be revealed. Okay? Give that to RFK Jr.
Yes, sir.
Now, I especially like that last part, guys. You got to appreciate the thoughtfulness of giving the signing pen to RFK Jr. I'm pretty sure he would appreciate that, right? I'm pretty sure I'm not the only one who thinks that, right? Anyway, now we want to talk about the Epstein files being released next, but you got to admit, this move by Trump is like the United States is standing up and saying, hey, we are tired of having our faces spat on by the lies. You know what I mean, guys? I mean, like, this is we're going to see this just trove of long classified government documents concerning some of the most politically charged killings in modern American history. Like Trump said in the clip, a lot of people were waiting for this for years, for decades. And now he says everything will be released. First, there's the JFK unaliving on November 22nd, 1963. Now, I hate to say unaliving, but I'm just trying to not get demonetized, guys, so bear with me. You can pretty much ask anyone who was alive at the time, and they would probably tell you exactly where they were when they heard the news. Now, I don't know if I have people here old enough to remember that, but comment down below if you actually remember that. So John F. Kennedy, known for both his glamour and steering the country through the closest it ever came to nuclear war, was unalived in Dallas, Texas. He was shot while riding his presidential motorcade along a downtown city street, and he waved to adoring bystanders from the open-roofed car. Police arrested Lee Harvey Oswald less than an hour later, but Oswald himself was unalived on live TV just 2 days later as police were transferring him to a county jail. Later, the President's Commission on the Unaliving of President John F. Kennedy concluded that Oswald's unaliver, Jack Ruby, acted alone on an impulse. Still, Americans search for answers. Literally hundreds of books and documentaries were made about this very same topic. Because you see, the commission's work was always questioned by the critics. How many of you guys question what we were told for decades about this, huh? Do you really trust the CIA? Do you trust the FBI? Many people say that it was a government orchestrated cover-up and that there have definitely been doubts over who took out John F. Kennedy, and this has just persisted over the decades. Conspiracies lay the blame on everyone from Cuba at the heart of the nuclear missile crisis to the CIA itself. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. as well. He was taken out in Memphis, April 4th, 1968. Now, we all know him as a main leader of the civil rights movement. We even have a Dr. Martin Luther King Day. So yeah, the Atlanta preacher was visiting the city to march alongside striking workers. On the evening of the assassination, he was preparing to leave for dinner at the home of a local minister. He stepped outside to speak with colleagues in the parking lot just below and was hit in the face by the assassin. James Earl Ray, a 40-year-old escaped fugitive, later confessed to the crime and was sentenced to a 99-year prison term. But later, Ray tried to withdraw his confession and said that he was set up by a man named Raul. And well, until his death in 1998, Ray says that he did not take out Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. So who really did it, right? Now, what's even more intriguing about it is that a Memphis tavern tavern owner and a former FBI agent, both also claimed a figure named Raul was behind this horrible event, at least according to the Department of Justice. And get this, guys, the very same year, Robert F. Kennedy, JFK's brother, was also taken out in Los Angeles. He was a champion of civil rights in his own right. He served as his brother's attorney general and as a senator. He later declared his candidacy for president, but just a few months into it, he was taken out permanently in Los Angeles, where he had gone for the California Democratic primary. An assassin, Sirhan, removed him permanently as he shook hands with a hotel busboy. And of course, there's no denying the idea that the same elements that were behind the older Kennedys being taken out could have also taken out the former senator. Now, RFK Jr., Trump's pick to run the Department of Health and Human Services, has been saying for a very long time that Sirhan didn't even shoot his father. He believes Sirhan missed and that instead his dad was actually shot by a man linked to the CIA. Now, seriously, guys, it's a whole rabbit hole in and of itself. These mysteries, plus the secrecy that they've been covering up over the decades, well, Trump just shined a light on all of it. Now, I cannot wait to see what comes of all this. Let me know if you guys feel the same on that one. Drop a quick yes in the comments down below. Hit the like button to show your support. And while you guys are at it, make sure to subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification bell. That way you don't miss out on any of our future updates. Appreciate that, guys. But yeah, so on the topic of exposing secrets, there's this pretty juicy story that just came out from the Washington Post. Well, apparently Mike Johnson's office stopped Republicans from subpoenaing Cassidy Hutchinson because of what were described as being, let's just say, explicit texts that GOP lawmakers sent her. What were they trying to do behind those cabinets is what I'm saying. See, Representative Barry Loudermilk, a Republican from Georgia, floated the idea of issuing a subpoena to Hutchinson so that they could get any digital communications that might implicate Trump rivals like former Representative Liz Cheney of wrongdoing. Well, according to the Post, they advised Loudermilk against it because a subpoena would reveal, let's just say, very illicit texts from members who were trying to engage in certain favors with Hutchinson and other embarrassing information. Now, I'm pretty sure you guys can read in between the lines. The name Monica Lewinsky seems to come to mind for some reason. Anyway, but Loudermilk and Mike Johnson are denying the story, though. The House Speaker, Mike Johnson, for one, said he had nothing to do with that. And about what Mike Johnson called allegations that somebody on his staff communicated with somebody else on the staff, he said that he's not privy to all of his staff's conversations, but that he didn't have anything to do with him. So it's pretty much ado about nothing. Loudermilk, too, the congressman, told reporters that his committee decided against issuing Hutchinson a subpoena because she was cooperating with the panel. But rest assured, the supposed texts aren't stopping Loudermilk from pushing forward with an investigation or possibly re-investigation, as some people call it. In fact, Mike Johnson has still asked Loudermilk to chair a new select subcommittee to scrutinize who probed the Capitol attack. So yeah, another investigation that is sure to uncover a lot of secrets that they've been keeping in Washington, D.C. You know what I mean? They are definitely draining the swamp, and I personally just can't wait to see what has been lurking in those murky waters. Now, as Trump put it in his first TV interview since inauguration, the nation's problems are all solvable, especially with a very unified Republican caucus in Congress. President Trump promises that we can get our country back. And sure enough, we can see exactly that, as Trump hasn't been shy about engaging with the press throughout his action-packed first 3 days back at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. Not like his predecessor, Joe Biden. He answered a whole lot of questions from reporters in the Oval Office Monday night as he signed dozens of day one executive orders, including withdrawing the United States from the World Health Organization, declaring Mexican drug cartels foreign terrorist organizations, and directing the Justice Department not to enforce the TikTok divest or ban law for 75 days. The president also took questions Tuesday after unveiling a $500 billion artificial intelligence infrastructure project at the White House, right alongside representatives from OpenAI, SoftBank, and Oracle. But really, guys, what really stands out for me is Trump's facing these problems with a very brave attitude, rather than what we've been hearing from Democrats, like how the end is nigh, or we're facing threats of democracy, the whole climate change deal, and gender equality and all that other stuff. Yeah, Trump, pragmatic as ever, is focused on actual, real issues, the ones that gave him his mandate. The border, inflation, crime, and the toxic social engineering around race and gender. I mean, that's why we voted for him, right? He's not throwing his hands up in the air and saying that inflation's inevitable and that there's no illegal immigration crisis. Not at all. The president is rolling up his sleeves and he's getting stuff done in his first few days in office. I mean, you gotta admire the guy for doing this, right? I mean, like, a lot of what he's promised us, he's already taken care of. So far, so good, I guess. Drop a quick yes in the comments down below if you agree with what I'm saying here. Also, subscribe to the channel, tap that notification bell for more updates like this one. Stick around to the end because I've got some suggested videos that are about to pop up that you should absolutely check out right after this one. As always, appreciate you guys hitting the like button and sharing this video. We'll see you next time.